This is 40K Today. We're like the Primaris Lieutenant of 40K podcasts. There's a new one every day.
Hello and welcome to 40K Today. This is your daily shot of 40K adrenaline. We feature stories from all across the hobby, competitive play, conversions, painting, lore, you name it, we do it, full stop. I'm your host, John Damaris, and today on the program, we talk to an ITC champion about the changes to Tau, and we get some great advice on running events during the pandemic. Okay, who's ready for 9th edition? Official release is this Saturday, the 25th, and GW is planning on having a major launch party on their Twitch at 1:45 BST. Tune in as you start assembling your new Indominus box set and check out some new releases and all kinds of other fun announcement. Lots of people are itching to play some events again, but are also very concerned about the pandemic. Stephen Box from Vanguard Tactics is running one of the first 9th edition events for 30 people. We sit down and talk about the steps he's taking to make sure everyone has fun and, more importantly, feels safe. If you're thinking about organizing an event, this is a must listen. All right, Mr. Box, joining us from across the pond, you have a little, we'll call it a minor amount of controversy, right? You are running an event, and I want you to tell people about the safety precautions that you're talking about, because I think the steps that you've taken can really help people who are also considering running events, and it's going to depend on what area you're in, right? Because there's hotter spots in the world and colder spots, and we certainly understand that. And we certainly understand anybody that makes the decision to not run events because they want to keep people safe. Totally understand and respect that. But you would like to see events happen, and you are in a place where you can do it. You want to talk about some of the things that you've gone through, because I looked at your packet for your event, and it's pretty impressive. So,
well, thank you. Thank you very much, John, and thanks for having me back. It was one thing I just want to start off by saying was that we have decided to bring about an event because we believe we can do it in a way that's safe for everybody and also enjoy the hobby that obviously we love so much. It's all about now finding our new level of normality, and that's going to take some level of adjustment, but with that comes a lot of precautions and procedures. So we've got an extremely professional events team from 4 different sort of areas, I suppose, that have come together, and we're working tirelessly to make this event happen. Now, one of the things that we've obviously done is, the player pack is there for you to have a look at, and I'd recommend anyone that's thinking about doing an event to check out that player pack, because as of today, we actually got the go-ahead from the local council to say absolutely everything you've done goes beyond above what we could ever imagine that somebody could do, and we are in full support of the event. So for me, that was like, I can sleep now. I've got the okay from the local authorities, and because this event has caused a lot of controversy. People saying, "Oh, it's illegal. You can't do that. It's not safe." And there's been a lot of expressed opinions about what we're doing, and I think the one of the issues is that sometimes the governments aren't exactly explicitly clear what the difference is between an organized event like this one and what would be, a group gathering with friends. And they're 2 very, very different things. So what we had to do was bring a team together and not only do a complete risk assessment of the event, and we're really, really fortunately, we have somebody on our team that does that for a living for local or law enforcement, and also is managed events up to 35,000 people, which is absolutely incredible. I've used to do a lot of health retreats abroad, so I'm very used to kind of all the risk assessments involved with the health and fitness thing when you're trying to get people across the oceans on crazy courses with lots of weightlifting and nutrition involved. And I've also consulted for some of the biggest companies in the world for their nutrition at, people with like gluten intolerance or allergies or whatever it might be. So it's been like the absolute forefront on our mind. And we really wanted to set the standard of, if you want to run an event, especially in the UK, then this is a really good, I suppose, policy or procedures or process to put in place. And therefore to give that feeling of safety for those people that attend, because that's what we want, is people need to feel comfortable and confident. That's always been my thing, no matter whether they're trying to learn the rules of 40K or just trying to have some fun with it. So safety is absolutely paramount.
So it's very clear that you're very serious about safety and following scientific best practice. Do you want to give the listeners some examples of things that you're doing at your event to keep the event safe?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've teamed up with an organization that provide PPE. They're called For Good, but we're taking that one step further. So not only do we have a risk assessment, we have a floor plan. So every player space is 2 meters apart from another. Now, the recommendation is 1 meter, but we've tried to stretch that to 2 meters just to give us a little bit more wiggle room. Now, if you are over 2 meters away, then there isn't that requirement to wear a face mask. However, we are going to require them. Again, we've thought, right, what can we do? Let's go above and beyond. So face masks have to be worn at all times. We're then going to do encouraging very good hand hygiene, which is really, really important. So we're providing face masks. We're providing hand sanitizer. We're doing the track and trace system here at the UK. So when you rock up, when you register, we know where you've been. And there'll also be a temperature check on the door as well. So, and we've got a refund policy that supports all of this, because we just don't want anyone to, feel like, well, I'm just going to risk it. We don't want that. So there's a lot of things that we are doing, especially like a full briefing on the day. We've got like a full hour just to register 30 people. And the 30 people that we have actually includes the event staff as well. Now, we could have took it a little bit larger, but we felt with the floor plan and the size of the room, 30 was perfect after we did all the measurements and everything. So, yeah, that's kind of like just some of the things that some of the lengths that we've gone to.
Okay, cool. And what we'll do is we'll put a link to your player pack in our show notes so that if other tournament organizers want to see what you've done, they have kind of a reference to kind of look at what you looked at. And then if they had questions, could they find you someplace? Like, where's a good place people could talk to you if they want to get this going in their local area?
Yeah, the best thing to do is probably shoot me an email straight away, and that's Stephen@vanguardtactics.com. So yeah, just reach out and put in the header something about TO event help or something, so I can ping it up. Obviously, I get a lot of emails about sort of 40k questions and things, so that kind of goes somewhere else. But yeah, ultimately, if you just pop that in the header, like TO looking for help, then I'd happily again, just give some general guidance. But all I would say is just be very, very careful and make sure if you don't feel like you have the support and you're not fully equipped for it, then don't do it. Like, we're providing dice to every single player. We're also giving everyone a dice tray. We're also giving people objective markers, measurement gauges, absolutely everything we possibly can, apart from their models. And then all the terrain is completely new. It will be left 72 hours before it's unpacked. And then obviously all the setup team will be doing a full procedure of hand hygiene before they touch and place all the terrain out. Same with all the new, because we're using the new recommended mat sizes. So we've got all that. But the prize support for the event is absolutely incredible. We're using the new, or like my designed terrain that Foreground Publishing have put together. So I'm really excited to see what people's feedback is of the terrain, because I think it is absolutely exceptional. So I'm really looking forward to it now. Now I've got the okay, and we can really push on.
Okay, last question before I go. Will you guys be streaming from there?
No. I would have absolutely loved to, but it would have just added more people to the event which were non-essential. So we've got 6 player referees. We're really making sure that people are just happy with 9th edition. But yeah, that was it was one of the things that we really wanted to do, but we just didn't feel like it was right. Also, when you're sharing microphones and things, it would cause another level of uncertainty and safety that we didn't want to risk, really.
Okay, well, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, John.
If you're going to set up an event, make sure you reach out to Stephen. He will have some fabulous advice to help you out. All right, next up, a genuine pro stops by to tell us all about the Tau. Today's episode of 40K Today is brought to you by Frontline Gaming. Frontline Gaming is a one-stop shop for all your Warhammer hobby needs, discounted products, American-made gaming mats and terrain, and a full line of miniatures painting service and daily hobby content. And this can all be found at frontlinegaming.org. Welcome back. ITC champion and Tau demigod Richard Siegler stops by to tell us about Tau in 9th edition. ITC champion, reigning ITC champion Richard Siegler, here to talk about his first love, the Tau, which may not even be true, but we know you did really well with them last year. So how are you?
Excellent. I'm doing really well, John. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me on again. And though Tau is not my first love, it was certainly the one I did the best with last year.
Yeah, you absolutely smoked everyone with Tau last year.
So
So
much so, I think I got him nerfed.
it's all your fault. Send
Me and
hate mail
Brian pulled
to.
him.
I'm just kidding. All right, so let's talk about Tau in ninth edition. Obviously, the game has changed almost completely. A lot of people think that it's an 8.5, but I would disagree. Ninth edition is its own animal. And I think what people want to know is how do you compete with Tau in the new edition?
On the surface, Tau got hit, kind of hard overall. They were very reliant on shield drones last season. Tau essentially only has one playstyle, and that's that very defensive battlesuit centric playstyle. The mech units just unfortunately don't do enough for their points value. So fundamentally, with shield drones going up 50%, it's a really hard hit to Tau. However, I think they do have some tools that are going to be effective in the new missions, since they are progressive primary. Tau is still one of the best board control armies out there. They have very cheap, durable screening units and 5-up invuln breacher units, as well as 2-man shield drone, or now, one shield drone, one guardian drone with your troops. So I think Tau still have the tools to play on the missions. It's just there's no room for error. There's no room for mistakes here.
Yeah. So now, do you think that their list construction is going to change? And obviously, you referenced breachers. I think that's a difference, right?
Yeah, I had been running Farsight Enclave's Breachers for a little while in the last couple months. I didn't get to play it at a tournament. I was planning to play it at Adepticon for the first time. It was a little bit of a surprise, but I think Farsight Enclaves, based around commanders, a lot of OBSEC Breacher units, and then tons of drones. Now, because gun drones stayed at 10 points, I think you'll see at least a few of them coming in from reserve, picking opponents off objectives, and just giving you some board control. So I think overall, the Farsight Enclave's playstyle, more aggressive, more board control centric, is going to be the main way to go.
That's cool. So, what do you put in your Farsight Enclave then?
So mostly I've been running 3 to 4 commanders, one unit of crisis suits. I've been playing around with a 3-man unit, 1 CP to increase their ballistic skill and weapon skill pre-game. You could go for a larger unit and spend 2 CP to upgrade them, but I like the one unit because it's very cheap for what it does. In addition, I have 3 units of gun drones, sometimes four, and then I've been experimenting with anywhere between 30 and 60 breachers, all with the 5-up invuln thanks to that guardian drone. And I've sometimes put in an ion tide just for that extra anti-tank. Other times I just go for more bodies. So that's kind of where my thought process is right now.
That's cool. That's something that I've seen some other people doing. Like I know Nick was playing Guardians, right, with Asherman for the 4-up invul. I think a lot of OBSEC with an invul is actually going to be pretty good in the new edition just because invuls sort of screw up the math for people trying to take things off objectives. Um, and obviously you want to survive, right?
Yeah,
What do-
definitely. Just having durable bodies that have OBSEC and are MSU, multiple small units, so it's really inefficient for your opponent to split fire against all of it. They generally don't have the number of shots and the ability to split enough of their guns to finish everything off the objective. And of course, you have powerful characters hiding behind that, like Tau commanders.
yeah. So do you think that with the because in ITC killing more was a thing, right? That you had to be cognizant of that just doesn't exist in the new edition. Like there's no equivalent to it. So do you think that we'll see a lot more, lots of small units in armies to take advantage of that, or to take advantage of that not existing anymore?
I definitely think we're going to see it. So I had experimented with that all of last season. I really just ignored Killmore in ITC and was willing to give it up the first couple turns. But then as I whittled down my opponent and pushed back their reserves with cheap screening, eventually I came back on the primary. In ninth edition, the Killmore concept is only 15 point secondary. And even then, it's not a guarantee that your opponent's going to get it if you're returning fire. So fundamentally, I'm going to run as many small units as I can, as long as they're durable enough.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then how do you feel the game length change? Does that, because to me that felt like that was better for Tau, but I'd be curious to what you think.
I actually think it's the opposite. There were, especially for the Riptide build. So all of last season, I played a lot of close games in finals, semifinals, and most of those games came down to a turn 6 where I would come back on the mission. Usually, I was behind anywhere between like 15 plus points in the middle of the game, and eventually, slowly over the last 3 turns, I would swing it back in my favor. Without that turn 6, it's a lot harder to play that kind of cagey Tau style. You pick off your opponent's threats, you eventually push up into the middle board and take board control. Because it's only 5 turns now and you're not scoring primary on the first turn, you really need to not only start with board control, but be able to maintain it. With less shield drones, I think it's going to be harder for the triple tide build to survive.
So you see more of a breacher horde moving to the center of the board, and then your elements like commanders being difficult to deal with. I think it's good for them too, because a lot of them have like an 18-inch range. So being in the center of the board, they can be pretty effective if you cloud to the center of the board, so to speak.
15-inch range, but it is an assault weapon, so they can get extra extra bit of speed there. And of course, your opponent is going to be wanting to contest those. So even if the breachers don't do anything the first like 1 or 2 turns, as soon as they get close, and especially with far side enclaves, rerolling ones to hit, ones to wound if they're within 6 inches, and that means their close range profile is active, strength 6, AP2, 1 damage. That's a lot of shots coming out of the breachers, doing quite a bit of damage efficiently.
Yeah, that sounds great. Okay. Well, before we leave, why don't you leave one last piece of advice for Tau players, and then we'll let you go.
Hopefully Games Workshop, when they release those new Forge World data sheets, doesn't change the Taunar too much, because right now it is the bee's knees. It's about 892 points with the best profile, and I think it is absolutely legitimate. And if you want to check out a game of me playing it with my Farside Enclaves build, check out the Art of War 40K stream on YouTube, Art of War 40K.
Awesome. I guess, and before we should, I would be remiss to not mention this, but before I let you go, you're going to be on the Art of War this week, so we're going to have a nice long, probably 2-hour plus discussion on Tau and 9th edition with an example list and everything. So you guys should definitely check that out. It'll drop next Monday on Frontline Gaming Network, or if you're a patron, it'll be out on Wednesday or tomorrow. All right. Thanks, Richard.
Thanks so much.
That was Richard Siegler, single-handedly proving that Tau players are not actually the worst. Happy dance time. Let's do the model of the day.
It's the model of the day, the model of the day, the model of the day.
This week's model of the day is an amazing night spinner painted by the Bunker RMH on Instagram. And I think it might be at the Bunker Wargaming. We'll have to check that out. Anyway, there'll be a link on our Facebook to this amazing night spinner. It's a beautiful purple, and I really, really love the great use of lines to add visual interest to this model. You'll have to check it out. It's purple and white, and it's a very, very good example of creating a neat and clean-looking model that fits the Eldar aesthetic very, very well. And as always, if you have a model of the day that you think we should feature, you should use our hashtag 40K Today on Instagram, and we'll come find it and put it on the show. Or send us a message on Facebook. We take submissions that way too. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us. A big thanks to our content producer, Alex Boehner, our social media ace, Tanya Gates, and our technical producer, Seamus Ronan, for all of their amazing and hard work once again in putting the program together. If you have anything you think we should feature on the show, please get in touch. You have an amazing army or a YouTube channel or a great hobby tip, contact us via Facebook. Just search for 40K Today. We'll see you tomorrow. And until then, for the 40K Today team, I'm John Damaris, and that's what's happening in 40K Today.